Hey, everybody, I'm Hillary Atkin from the Atkin Report, and I'm absolutely thrilled to welcome Rudy Ramos here with me today for Hillary's Happy Hour. Rudy, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Hillary. It's nice to see your smiling face.
Oh, and you too.
Thank you,
I
ma'am.
know, I know you're going to be going back to the Montana set of Yellowstone soon,
Yep.
but in the meantime, I hear you have a very big and exciting project. So do tell.
I do have one coming up August 29. It's going to be out of the White Fire Theater in Sherman Oaks, California. It's my one-man show called Geronimo, Life on the Reservation, and it's a one-man show. It's an hour long. It's going to be live streamed all over the country and all over the world, anywhere that the time zone fits. But it's a seldom told story about the last 23 years of Geronimo's life as a prisoner of war in his own country, and it's his side of the story as to why he fought so hard. It's really a great show. I love doing the character. I live it. People think that I am Geronimo when they come and talk to me after the show, and it's somebody needed to hear the other side of the story. There was a reason why they fought, and it's in the story. And so to have it live streamed all over the country. And all you got, it comes right to your living room. And so many people, when I've traveled around, or they'll contact me on Facebook saying, "When are you coming to my town?" You can only come if you're invited. That's the way I do. I never had an agent for this show. Solo shows are hard sells anyway. No agent wants to handle it because there's not money in it, but that's not why I'm doing it. I raised the money to get this going from the Kickstarter program. And I've had a lot of wonderful people help me along the way. The American Costume Company in Los Angeles, they gave me the costumes that I wear in this show, and I need to get it back to them. But it's really a good show. It's a wonderful educational tool. I've had many teachers approach me and say, "Why is this not on HBO or the History Channel or Arts and Entertainment?" So they're going to get their chance to see it Saturday night, August 29, 7 p.m. California time, and I'm looking forward to it, and then I'm off to Montana to film Yellowstone. I was not in season 3, but they're bringing my character back for season 4, so that's going to be exciting.
That is going to be exciting. And going back to your stage show, what initially inspired you to do this?
Well, a big part of this show takes place in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, which is, I was born in Lawton, which borders Fort Sill. It's Lawton, Fort Sill. It's military base. It was an army base then. And that's where he spent the final 15 years of his life. And so he was like a boyhood idol of mine. I mean, I was raised in a Kiowa Comanche neighborhood and blacks. It was, it was a very segregated city, Lawton, Oklahoma, where I'm from. And so that's where we lived. And I gravitated towards him. I mean, number one, he was always the bad guy in every book that I read, and I had an issue with that. And then, he had brown skin, I had brown skin, so naturally I gravitated towards him. And then as I got older and I found out more and more about him, a singer, songwriter, Michael Martin Murphey, who's a wonderful singer-songwriter. He told me 30-something years ago, your audience will know who he is. I went to see his show in Ventura, California. And after the show, we were in his room visiting, and we were talking about his song, Geronimo's Cadillac. And then I told him how, my infatuation with Geronimo, and he said, you should write a one-man show. You should play Geronimo. And 30 some odd years later, finally somebody wrote me a script, and I'm playing him, and I'm living him, and I'm loving it.
Wow. Well, I cannot wait to see it. And I'm sure there's people all over the world where it'll be streamed that will enjoy the opportunity. Just like they enjoy your character, Felix Long on Yellowstone. And how did that role come about for you?
Well, I auditioned like everybody else. It's really, and I didn't read the script, but I had 2 scenes that I was going to audition for, and I really took to this character, and I've never seen the natives portrayed in such an honest way, but with such integrity. And I thought, oh, I'd love to have this role, but I didn't think I would get it because it was such a good role. It was not a lead role, but it was a co-starring, a very integral part of the script of the show. But I thought somebody like Wes Studi, who's nominated for an Academy Award, or Graham Greene, nominated for an Academy Award, I thought that probably one of those two would get it. And Graham Greene had just done a film with the creator of the show, director, Taylor Sheridan. But I went in and I read, and then they called me back right away. And my last reading, I heard somebody say, "Yep, that's it." And I didn't see anybody's mouth move. And actually, Taylor was watching on Skype from Utah, and he cast me himself. So I'm thrilled to death. And, you know, to have this happen, you know, from 50 years from when I started on a legendary television show, the High Chaparral, and then to be in another legendary Western, you know, towards the end of my career, it's very exciting. It's just very exciting. And it's a great cast, great crew, no drama on that set. Everybody knows that we're there to serve Taylor and his words and bring them to life. And that's what we do. Everybody's got a lot of credit. So we're having a great time. It's a great show. It's a huge hit, and it's fun.
And you have a lot of great co-stars, including Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner, you know, somebody who's going to be a very, very big star. He's in the process of that happening now. Luke Grimes, Kelly. Oh God, she'll kill me. The one that plays Beth. You've seen the show, right?
Yeah, absolutely. She's great.
Yeah, but I know her name. I just can't think of it right now. But there's a lot of budding stars right now. Kelsey Asbiel, who plays my granddaughter, Monica. Luke Grimes, he's already become a big star from this. And then, of course, Kevin. So, and Kevin's a great guy to work with, too. He and Taylor Sheridan are fun to be around. They're good leaders. They're funny, but they're all business too. So they're good leaders. It's fun.
Well, if you would flash back to, like you called it, another legendary Western, The High Chaparral, which was on NBC, and that was your first role, correct?
Yes. Correct. Yes.
So
I played Wind, the half-breed Pawnee native that came into the show on the 4th season. They added a new character, and that character was really caught on right away. He was young, very young, and I was very young. He was a loner. He was a rebel. He was kicked out of the tribe that he was in because he was half white and half Indian. And I think a lot of people related to that the part that he was different because he was a half-breed, but he was also a loner. And I think a lot of young people plugged into that too. So, you know, that character happened. Unfortunately, that after season 4 was when they were the studios were doing away with all the Westerns because of the gun violence and stuff like that. And that was the only season I was on, but it gave me a real good jump start into the business.
Well,
beginning.
You've had an incredible career on screen and, you know, on stage as well, but let's talk about some of the huge movie stars you've worked with. I'll just name a few: Eddie Murphy, Clint Eastwood, Robert Duvall, Don Cheadle, Dennis Hopper, Sean Penn. Where should I stop? What are some of your favorite memories of working with these people in really iconic films?
Well, a quick story. Working with Clint Eastwood was very exciting, and I only had one scene, but it was with him, and it was pretty much in the very beginning of his second Dirty Harry movie. It was called The Enforcer. And the thing that I took away from that was he was very giving to his fellow actors. And I had him down on the floor with a shotgun because I was robbing a liquor store and I got caught and surrounded by police. So he came over to talk to me, see what I wanted. I told him what I wanted. And then when he got up, he was just kind of moving a little too slow to match my intensity at that moment. And I ran up behind him and I kicked him in the ass right out the door. And you could feel the whole set. Oh, I can't believe that kid did that. He's so fired. Well, he loved it and he kept it in the film. So that's the kind of artist that he is. Well, that was not in the script, but that's what that I was in that moment, and I just ran up behind him and I said, "Run, you!" And I said a few things that I will not repeat on your show, but that. And then working with Ryan O'Neal in The Driver, a Walter Hill film. Ryan catches a lot of heat because he's Ryan O'Neal, but he really is a good guy, and he's still a friend of mine. And Robert Duvall too. I loved working with him. Dennis Hopper is Dennis Hopper. He's a wild man, but there's a lot of substance there. He can't get it out. He'll start doing this. And he'd say something to me, and I'd look at Duvall and say, "What did he just say?" And he said, "Don't worry about it. Just do it. Just do what you were doing." So, okay. So, it was fun.
Well, Robert Duvall is an acting legend, so to get that advice from him, I'm sure you took it to heart.
Oh yeah, yeah. And Dennis Hopper's a acting legend too, but I didn't understand what he was saying. He was just, well, you know, everything what you know. And I say, what did he just say? Don't worry. So it was fun. That was in the film Colors. So that was a big hit. And I played Robert Duvall and Sean Penn's commanding officer in Colors. So, and of course, The Enforcer was a very, very big hit. Eddie Murphy, what was it? Beverly Hills Cop 2 was a big hit. The film I did with Ryan O'Neal, The Driver, was a moderate hit, but it's been like it's a cult film. I mean, it's a Walter Hill film. It's really a good film. My favorite film was Defiance with Art Carney and Jan Michael Vincent. That's a whole, I could take up your whole show talking about that one, but working with Art Carney was wonderful.
Well, I just want to ask you about another show that you did, because there's currently a documentary on Helter Skelter, and there's been so many projects about the Manson murders, but you were in a show called Helter Skelter. Yep. And I would love to hear about what role you played and your experience on that. And sidebar, one of your fellow actors is now directing your stage show. So you guys obviously got really tight on that. That's obviously where you met, but tell us more about that.
Well, the best thing that happened for me in Helter Skelter was meeting Steve Railsback, who is from Wichita Falls, Texas. I'm from Lawton, Oklahoma. They're right across the Red River from each other. And we met here in Los Angeles. Well, I don't live in Los Angeles, but that's where we met. And we became good friends right off the bat. He's a wonderful actor and an inspiration to all actors still to this day. And he directs my Geronimo show. And he gave me some stuff in the very beginning and the end that I did not want to do. It was too risky for me, and I didn't think I could do it. So he's responsible for that. But I played Danny DiCarlo in Helter Skelter. Danny DiCarlo was a biker. He wasn't a part of Manson's gang. He just lived at the ranch, the Spawn Ranch, where everybody else was, because he liked girls. And Charlie liked having him around because he was a biker. So it was an interesting shoot. You know, that stuff we weren't that far away from it, and we were getting phone calls and threats, and my mother got a threat because I was a part of the project. But Charles Manson was not near as interesting as Steve Railsback made him. And I don't know if you ever saw Helter Skelter, but it was a 4-hour movie for TV, 2 hours one night, 2 hours the next night, 100 million people. And Railsback terrified the nation with his portrayal of Charles Manson. And I met a lot of wonderful people, some still in my life, some have passed. But that was a very special project, very special. And Danny was the first one to talk to Vincent Bugliosi about life on the ranch with Charlie. So Bugliosi went from that. Danny gave him a lot of information, and from that he was able to put it together.
And Vincent Bugliosi, of course, wrote the book Helter Skelter. And I bet or maybe you haven't watched it yet, but there's a new documentary called Helter Skelter, which of course is a documentary, but it's on the Epix channel. And I'm finding it fascinating with all the footage from the time and the backstory. And it doesn't necessarily focus entirely on Charles Manson because there's so many other elements. And yes. I saw the part about Danny DiCarlo. Yeah. And realized that was the guy that you played. And yeah, he was a tough biker dude.
Yeah, yeah, he was. You know, I'm glad, I like your take on that because there was a lot of, it wasn't all about Charles Manson. It was the people that he drew. And it was the perfect storm. He had just gotten out of prison. It was the late 60s. It was, you know, young kids were taking acid and he said he was Jesus Christ, and they followed him because they were all runaways. Then they found that home at Spawn Ranch, and that just, you know, it could have never happened except at that time.
Right.
And it did. And for Vincent Bugliosi to put that thing together, that was just good. A good lawyer doing that, and a lot of luck. It was right under their nose and they didn't even know it. And then it started coming together and then people started talking. Otherwise they would have never solved this case. So it was great to be a part of that project. It was a little scary and I'm not really afraid of much. My cats maybe, but it bothered me that my mother was receiving phone calls in Oklahoma. And you know, she was an innocent. She didn't know, and it scared her. It really scared her. So, and those were, you know, some of his followers, you know, doing their homework, finding out my mother's number, because in those days in Lawton, Oklahoma, everybody had their phone number in the phone book. Yeah. It wasn't that hard to find somebody's mother. So that was unfortunate, but we all survived that. I got brothers. They were there. So.
Well, I'm glad you made it through unscathed, and I want to take this opportunity to propose a toast to you because it is happy hour.
It is.
And I wanted to wish you the utmost success on Geronimo, Life on the Reservation.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
And also when you return to the set of Yellowstone with all your fabulous cast and crew.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I miss not being in season 3. I was supposed to be in season 3, and then the storylines kept changing, and it didn't work out. So it was a little surprise to me. But Felix Long is back. So to you, my dear, thank you so much for having me as your guest, and to Yellowstone.
Thank you, Rudy. I hope to see you soon in person.
You will. Thank you for inviting me.
Bye.
Good night. Tequila.